Hello, this is cjhoyle. Today is Sunday, July the 18th, 2021, and in this video I'm going to be giving a narrated tour of the York Beltline Trail here in the city of Toronto. So here from Marlee Avenue, I'm just going to make a left turn here, which will take me to the entrance of the York Beltline Trail, right here. And from here at Marlee, I'm going to be heading along the Beltline, heading in the west direction. And the York Beltline is not a particularly long trail. So when I get to the end of that, I'm going to continue on, and I'm then going to give a tour of the Prospect Cemetery, which is just a little bit south of here. So the York Beltline Trail is built on the former path of the Toronto's Beltline Railway, which is a railway that existed originally back in the 1890s. It was actually a commuter train that was built for taking passengers who were living in the newly created suburbs of downtown Toronto up in this area. And the railway was not commercially successful. It only operated for less than 2 years, and after that point there were still train tracks here, but there were no passenger trains, and it was mostly just used for freight and things. And so a lot of the area that was around this sort of was kind of developed for industrial purposes, factories and various different things. But even that was in decline, into the middle of the 1900s. So as that railway was sort of gradually shut down, it was eventually transformed into a trail. And there's actually two other sections of the trail in addition to this one. There's the K. Gardner Beltline Trail, and there's the Moore Ravine Beltline Trail, or the Ravine Beltline, or the Moore Beltline. I've seen it called different things. And I've shown those other two sections in other videos that I've made. And I felt it was time that I came over here and showed you the York Beltline. The reason why this one is called York Beltline is because it exists within a part of the city of Toronto, which used to be part of one of the amalgamated cities, which is called York, which became part of the city of Toronto in 1998, when the amalgamation happened. So just up ahead here, we're going to be going over a little bridge. This will take us over top of Dufferin Street, which is a major north-south street here in Toronto, and you can see that the bridge is the old railway bridge that was, I'm sure, put in here back in the 1890s, but they've modified it to suit its purpose today. So as I mentioned, this is called the York Beltline Trail because it existed within the former municipality of York, and it was also built much later than the K. Gardner Beltline Trail. And again, I think that a lot of that had to do with the jurisdiction, but I think that also this part of the trail, this part of the railway was used for a longer period of time than the other. It was continued to use for those industrial purposes that I talked about long after the other portion had stopped, and they actually disconnected the railway there when they built the Allen Expressway. Basically a big highway that cut through a portion of it, and they didn't bother building a bridge because I guess that railway was just in such decline by that point in terms of usership. But yeah, so it makes a nice little recreational trail here today. You can see there's lots of people out enjoying it on this sunny Sunday. You'll also notice that the York Beltline Trail is paved, where the K. Gardner Beltline Trail is sort of a fine crushed gravel surface. So up ahead we have another road to cross here. The bridge that's at Dufferin Street is the only bridge that you go over top of on the York Beltline. The other roads that the railway crossed were level crossings, which means that to cross here you have to carefully get off your bike and get over these curbs and push it across in its use today. This road here is called Ronald Avenue. And very recently I filmed another video where I actually rode along that road that was just over there to our right, which is called Castlefield. And in that video I rode along that road, starting from that actual intersection back there at Ronald, all the way over to the Black Creek Drive, which was closed for an active TO event, which I participated in. So yeah, with those little interruptions caused by that road back there, Ronald Avenue and this next one up here, which is Caledonia, this trail doesn't really seem that long because, like, it's not a very long stretch of trail, but it feels like you're, at least at this end, like you're constantly being interrupted. But this is the last road that we need to cross because the trail is almost finished. Up ahead here it curves down towards the south direction, and that's because the Beltline Railway used to be connected up with some other railway tracks which are still in operation to this day. So that's where this trail terminates. And like I said, from there I'll be turning off from this road here and I'll head over to the Prospect Cemetery. But down towards this end you can, see more of those industrial purposes that are here, but there are also, a fair number of houses that were built around this train as well. I mean, remember, it was built to serve the people who lived in those houses who wanted a way to be able to get downtown. So over here towards our right is a fence, and over on the other side of the fence is the current railway that's still in operation to this day. I believe it's used by the GO Transit trains. Alright, so this road that we're on here is called Bowie Avenue, and I'll only be on it for a second. And we're still within the former municipality of York. In fact, we will be for the entire video today. This building that's over towards our left says Canada Goose on it, and you can see the Canada Goose logo over there on that shipping container. Canada Goose is a company that sells winter jackets. Just make a right turn here onto Caledonia, and that will take me a little bit further south. And this next road I'll be riding on up ahead is Eglinton Avenue, and I'll be making a left turn there, and that will take us right over to the northern entrance of the Prospect Cemetery. I'll wait for this red light. So I'm filming this at around 11 a.m. today, and the forecast for the day was showing that there was a pretty high percentage of rain, and the day started off pretty cloudy, but I'm very glad to see that the sun has come out and it's turned into actually quite a nice day. Yesterday it rained for certainly the entire morning and a good chunk of the afternoon as well, but it did dry out towards the end of the afternoon. So here from Caledonia Road, I'm making a left turn onto Eglinton Avenue West. Eglinton Avenue is currently having a transit train, an LRT, being built along it. Some portions of it are being built underground. Other portions are being built above ground. This is one of the underground portions. And the completion date for that is coming up relatively soon. It's a project that's been going on for quite a long time, it feels like. Alright, so here's the Prospect Cemetery. I'm just going to make a right turn into here. This is a pedestrian and cyclist entrance into the cemetery. And you may be wondering, why is he taking us through a cemetery today? Well, when you live in a massive city like Toronto, with lots of population density, and you've got nice cemeteries like this that have lots of old trees and green grass and stuff like that, the residents of the city tend to use the cemeteries very similar to the way that you use parks. When I was growing up living in the suburbs, I don't think we spent any time in cemeteries in my childhood. It wasn't a place that it really would occur that we would go to, but I'm sure as I'm riding along here, you'll see lots of other people just out riding their bikes, going for runs, walking their dogs, doing all those sorts of things. And we got a nice downhill to go down here, which we've got another hill to climb up later, so I guess we're heading down towards the bottom of a ravine. And here at the bottom we've got another gate to the cemetery, but this isn't the end of it. There are actually 3 separate sections of this cemetery that have roads that interrupt through them. This one here is called Kitchener Avenue. Alright, that guy's going to let me go, so I'll cross. So I don't have a lot of history about this cemetery. I just know that it was built, or it opened in 1890, and it was, I guess, as the city was growing and expanding, they needed places to bury people. And it was a 105-acre plot of land that was undeveloped, that was purchased. And I'm sure all the surrounding land around here was also undeveloped. And I believe it's always been a non-denominational cemetery with no affiliation with any churches or religions or anything like that. And it's operated by the Mount Pleasant group that operates a lot of cemeteries in Canada. They also operate the Mount Pleasant Cemetery, which is located a couple of kilometers to the east of here. They're just about at the top of that hill that I was having to climb. So you can appreciate this is kind of a nice place to come riding. There's not a lot of people that drive on it, and the ones that do are usually driving very slowly. I only came to this cemetery for the first time last summer. Due to the pandemic, there was an explosion of people riding bikes on trails and doing other outdoor activities. I'm going to go left here. All these roads are two-way roads, so you can really pick whichever way you want to go through them. And with that explosion of people using the trails, it meant that the places that I like to ride normally were just absolutely clogged with people and with infectious disease floating around the air, riding on a clogged trail, slower than you want to ride anyways, wasn't really very appealing. So it was an opportunity to start thinking outside the box and looking for other places that you might like to ride, and this is one of the places that I came. So we're just about to reach the end of this segment of the cemetery. We've got another road to cross. This one is called Rogers Road, and it's a bigger, more busy road than that last one we crossed. And Rogers Road actually has bike lanes on it, and it's a road that I'm sure I'll have to film a video of at some point in the future. One of the reasons why I'm filming this one today was because when I was filming that other video that I mentioned earlier, going over to the Black Creek Drive, I thought while I was up in this area of the city that I would try and film 2 videos so I could kind of work ahead a little bit with my YouTube pipeline of videos that I make. And that was yesterday that I filmed that. And yesterday, like I mentioned, was quite rainy. And as soon as I sort of saw that it was going to be a pretty rainy day all day, I thought, well, probably not a good idea to try and film 2 videos where it might be raining in the same day. So I didn't end up filming that yesterday, but when I saw that today was a nice day, I figured, okay, well, let's go and do that video that I didn't film yesterday. I've been trying to post these narrated cycling videos once a week. I think I've been doing it pretty consistently for the last 6 months or so, or probably even more than that. I try and get my narrated videos coming out on Thursdays. Now this portion of the cemetery up ahead on the left, there's sort of a middle oval, and you can see that there's a old historic cannon that's sitting there with a bunch of sandbags surrounding it. That middle oval there was a portion of the cemetery that was dedicated to the veterans of World War I. And it may look like there aren't really any graves over there because it just looks like a big green grassy field, but if you actually walk up there, you'll see that there are plenty of graves that are located at ground level with the stones in the ground as opposed to sitting up above them like you see other parts of the cemetery. I guess there must be also some that are sitting upright as well. So we've just about reached the far southern end of the Prospect Cemetery. Up ahead there's the last and final gate, and this one leads to St Clair Ave West. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on this narrated tour of the York Beltline Trail and the Prospect Cemetery. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.